at the Coombe Valley Campers YouTube channel, where myself, Leigh, are gonna help you with any of your questions and answers regarding van conversion or camper vanning, travel, some of the projects we've got going on at the moment, like this Beetle, or if you've got any questions about our latest project on YouTube, which is the 1969 Westphalia. If you haven't seen it yet, that video went up at 6 p.m. this evening, just a couple of hours ago. So yeah, this is what we do on a Sunday evening. It's something I've fallen out of habit. I've fallen out of habit in terms of doing the Sunday lives recently, so I thought I'd get back on it, and today I have spent all day cleaning the garage and organising it into a working space. So not only can I create more content regarding the Beetle just behind me, and I can do these lives without disturbing anybody else in the house. So welcome to the people who are watching so far. Nice to see you. I see there's 8 people already in here and watching. If you do me the biggest favour and leave a comment down below who you are, where you're watching from, and what car or vehicle or camper van you have, and have you done any work on it this weekend, or maybe you've have you been working on it this weekend? Have you been traveling? Have you been camping? You know, let me know what's going on. Bear with us 1 second whilst I am just, there we go. I'm just going to turn the heat on. I've got a little fan heater down here. I'll show you in a minute what I've done in the garage. But I've had a little fan heater on. I've got a little fan heater on downstairs, or down here, just to keep me a little bit warm. We've got Tony in at the moment. He says, evening, Leigh. We've got Goggy Motivate. He's in as well this evening. Nice to see you, gents. How are you both? Yes, already we're 2 minutes in. We've got 16 people in and watching. Good evening, everybody. In case you weren't here for the first couple of minutes, I'm Leigh, and we are doing a live Q&A here. And yes, we're going to be answering your questions, or we can be working on the Beetle today. I have, in the last live video on the Beetle, I was cleaning this engine. It was on the floor and I was quite uncomfortable, but now we actually have it on a stand and I can continue to work on it without being disturbed. I've done lots of sorting out in my garage today, so I can actually have things like this engine on a stand, and I can have the car in here at the same time. And currently where you're perched is my new workbench. So yeah. Right, John Perkins is in. Peugeot Boxer NDS needs solar panels fitted. Is that what you're saying, John? I'm having to come right up close to you. Good evening. Yeah, it's just so I can read the comments. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move the phone back a little bit, just so you can see more behind us. I'm not taking up all of the shot. If you haven't seen it already, behind me is our 1972 Beetle project. It currently has the engine out. If you've seen a previous one of our live videos, we actually got, well, the engine from this car is right here. And in a previous video, we actually got this engine running, and then I decided to pull it out and clean it all up, because basically it was missing a bunch of things like appropriate tinware, and it's absolutely filth. As you can see, I've already done half of the motor, like this side. Where are we there? Already done half of the motor that side, and now I've yet to clean all of this side. But if I was to flip it up on its side, you'll be able to see, maybe I'll do that later. If you were to flip it up on its side, you'll be able to see the bits and pieces I've cleaned so far. 89 Thunder Chunky. Hey Leigh, Dan from Worthing. Did have the LOT2 Auto, now sold. Looking for welding recommendations for my Mini, as well as a hole in the rear corner. Hello mate, how are you doing? Nice to see you in here. Regards to welding, I'm not entirely sure of the people from Worthing. I have a friend over in Angmering who's a body shop and welder, but I know he's very particular about the work he does, and he's very, very busy as well. But if you need more information, please feel free to PM me and I can hand you over his details. Kevin Froud says, hi mate, can't wait to hear about the Coffee and Camper Christmas event news. Yes, we are finalising all of the details for the Campers Coffee event this week, in the next 2 days, in fact, and then we'll be releasing the tickets as well. So yes, I look forward to that. It's a different event. It's not going to be a huge event. It's more going to be like a Christmas party. And as such, there's going to be a meal involved and everything else. But we're holding it at a pub rather than a huge venue. So places are limited. So as soon as we release those tickets, please get on it if you want a ticket, so you make sure you can get a place. Yes, absolutely. So 13 of you in, good evening. Thank you very much for watching. What do you want to see this evening? Do you want to do like a bit more of a Q&A, or do you want to see us working on the engine behind us? Do you want me to talk more about the bug today? We've still got lots of jobs around the car that aren't necessarily the engine. So we can crack on more with that. Or if I'm here, if you want to be asking lots of questions, bear with us whilst I just plug in my phone. That was a little bit of poor admin on my part, not plugging in my phone. What I'll do actually, first of all, if you're here and you're about and you want to see, it means I'm going to have to unplug my phone again. Right, so when I moved, well, one of the reasons we moved into this place is because of the huge garage. You are literally right up against the door here. Oh, for a start, that is an electric door, which is brilliant. But one of the reasons I love this garage, although it's quite low and it's effectively a concrete, kit garage with a crappy roof, it's so long. Look how long this garage is. The Beetle is tucked right up against the door there, and the door can still open and close. But that's the end of the Beetle right here. Yeah, I've still got all of that room at the back of the garage. So if I was to put that there, you can just see between the car and the back wall, I've still got loads of room. You can see all my lights set up here, so I can do this live. I actually installed this light today because the only light in the garage was that one, and it was pretty grim. So that's an old strip light from the Combe Valley Campers Workshop. I did bring another really old strip light from the Combe Valley Campers Workshop, decided to upgrade it to an LED bulb, and you have the new LED bulb starter motor thing. But it didn't work. I think the light's absolutely cooked. So what I'm going to do, bearing in mind I've done all the hard work of wiring it in, that light right at the end, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a new 5 or 6 foot LED bulb, the whole unit, and I might even go for another one on this panel, or even the next one along, because where I do most of the work is actually quite dark. But in terms of what we've got on the wall, yes, Dan, that is Doug. Yeah, he's my guy down in Angmering. So right, what have we got in the garage now? So that's the back end of the bug. I've been trying to sort out all of this as a workspace. So that is literally, where are we? If I can orientate my finger, that is now just storage. That's all the parts I've been collecting for the Bay project that you would have just seen on YouTube, and the Beetle over the last couple of years. Most of it I don't actually need, because I'd see somebody selling a bunch of parts, and it normally came as a bundle of this, that, and the other. So yeah, I've actually got far more parts than I need. All of that down the bottom is the tinware for this motor. And then all of the other parts are things like bay window bits and other Beetle bits and things like that as well. So managed to organise that. I pulled the Type 25 engine I have had on this stand for about a year. I pulled that off today, put it in the back of my van. If you're on our social media, you would have seen that. And I've now put the engine out of the Beetle on the stand to make it a lot easier to reassemble, service, clean, etc., etc. In terms of workbench, I made this today. Those black units there are actually those IKEA tray holders that you can have for your bedroom or your kids' room or whatever. And what I did, I cut up some new bits of ply to make a bit of a shelving system, and then I cut up that bit of 12mm ply on the top just to make me a bit of a workbench. And that is my old toolkit. When I moved into this house, all my tools were at the workshop. So I bought this little bit, and then gradually I've been bringing old tools as I've replaced them at the workshop. And I mean, the drawers are very sparse. but it's very nice to have a bigger toolbox. But they're all old stuff that was basically in the scrap pile for quite a while, and then I decided to reutilise it in this garage. So yeah, I've just been hanging stuff up on the wall. As you can see, we've got all the lights up here. So yes, now this is effectively another mini studio for doing this sort of thing. And with that little 2 kilowatt heater down there, it's warming up rather nicely. Now, somebody in from Poland says, nice work, hello from Poland, good evening. Now, bearing in mind my wife is from Poland, is that Jacek? Is that Jacek? Kleszcz? I don't know. My wife would be able to tell me how to pronounce that properly. But good evening to you. And we have Adrian Johnson. He says good evening as well. Very nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. So, if nobody's got any kind of questions for us, then we can I think I'm just going to continue with this build, or continue with the cleaning of this engine. Just going to have to find me some gloves. Unless you've got more and more questions for me, really. So what I'll do, I'll reposition this here, so you can have a good eye on it. And then I can continue with the cleaning. Find me some gloves. These are just hand-me-downs. They're not particularly brilliant gloves, but they will do for what I'm doing today. So, what have you been up to at the weekend, people? What have you been up to? Have you been out travelling? Have you been out chilling? Have you got any plans for the half-term holiday? Are you going out camping? We are, as a family, we're heading off to Wales this week. Not for the whole week, just for a couple of days. Mainly for a work thing. We're going to go and see the guys up at Cymru Campervan Furniture, so we can go and see what they do, with an aim to start offering their bits and pieces to you guys, our lovely customers, who like to use our bits and pieces, who like to build camper vans using new and exciting products. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. Before I actually start spraying things down, I will show you the little bits and pieces I've bought to help me clean this car. So, because of the beautiful Amazon, I now have a selection of these brushes, which is kind of cool. And I also bought some of those, just a selection of wire brushes, and these are all super cheap on the likes of Amazon. And they are hopefully, I haven't even opened them yet, look. This is how much I haven't been working on this car. But this will just help me get into all the little nooks and crannies on this car. And one of the best things, check these out. Again, super cheap on Amazon. A bunch of pipe cleaners. Oh my gosh, they're all attached. There we go. Lots of different sizes. Yeah, from the very, very, very slim. Check that one out. Compared to the size of my finger. And then all the way up to that big brush. So why don't we have a quick go at these, shall we? See how well they work in between all of these grills. Because I don't particularly want to disassemble the whole engine. But I just want to give that a bit more pressure. But I just want to make sure, bearing in mind these are air cooled, I just want to make sure that there's as much airflow going over all of this as possible, because ultimately I want to use this as a daily, and I want to use this as a daily as soon as possible. So, you know, I want it as a winter car. Now, you may think you're going to have cooling in the winter anyway. Like running your car, your water-cooled car, without in the system. You know, so there's no cooling system flowing through the engine, etc. There we go. That's already coming up beautifully. So have any of you restored a car or built a car in the past, or do you just enjoy watching others do it? I spend my time, in my spare time, not really watching TV, but I watch other people restore cars. This will be a good question, actually. So, obviously, you guys are watching this on YouTube right now. What other YouTubers do you watch? I really enjoy watching American YouTube channels at the moment, and I like watching the likes of Hicksys Garage. That's probably my favourite at the moment. A guy called Derek. Have you watched this guy yet? He is bloody brilliant. So he'll go and find a car that hasn't been started, run, driven in like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then he'll go ahead, get it running, and then drive it like 700 miles. 700 miles home in a car that hasn't run in 40 years. It's brilliant. Dan says, my dad passed in 2018. He left me a 30-foot garage full of Bedford CF bits in Manchester, but I'm in Worthing. Oh my gosh. Well, I tell you what, Manchester isn't really that far. I'd get up there. Bedford CF bits. My Mini Cooper is a rolling project. Brilliant. Right. So Dan, who's Thunder Chunky on YouTube, I've met him a couple of times down in Shoreham for the Heritage Parts Centre event called Heretics, and that's really, really good. If you're down in the southeast and you ever get the opportunity, go down to Heritage Parts Centre on one of their Heretics nights. They run from May through September, I think. And that's a really fun evening. Right, should we give it a go? Really should get a compressor in here as well, shouldn't I? To try and help me blow some of this stuff out. But these seem to be working pretty well. I can only get so far with that one. Maybe I'll just use this light a second, see if I can look through in there. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty cool in there. Might use one of the smaller brushes, so I'll go on with that. Yeah, just want to try and get rid of all the grime, really. See how I get on with it. That's nice being able to get in there. Oh, that's the ticket right there. I can get right between all the fins. They are not particularly strong though. Well, maybe time for another wire brush. Let's keep looking. Heritage are doing a Christmas run. I'm tempted. Yes, Dan, they are. I've never done the Santa Cruz. I was meant to do it last year, but for some reason I couldn't get to it. Maybe this is our year this year, eh? Maybe we can get down in there this year. Right, I'm going to give these little toothbrushy type things a go. I mean, in reality, what I probably should have done is whipped this all apart and then had it cleaned, etc., etc. You can't do that like crazy, can you? You can't get a thing chemically cleaned in your garage. So, you know, this is fun. Getting all of this nice and clean. Ultimately, the reason why I'm doing this is because this obviously had some form of oil leak somewhere. And before I start going tearing the whole thing down and replacing everything, if I give the block a clean, and then I run the engine, I'll be able to see where the leak comes from ultimately. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. That is coming up quite nicely. Just get right in there where I've cleaned. So that's where your oil cooler will sit on the top here. That feels good to get rid of all of that. As well as some of just the oily dirt, there's some what looks like corrosion in some areas. So actually using a tougher brush like this will actually help get rid of some of those, you know, corroded parts too. It's almost like lime scale. Which is pretty good. Right. So has anybody been following any of our projects on social media recently? Has anybody got any questions regarding those? I've been enjoying those quite recently as well. We've been doing a lot of solar panels, been doing some roof work, full-on camper conversions, ply panel stuff, full-on electrics. It's been really, really quite exciting at the moment. Lots of fun. There we go. I'll bring you in a bit closer in a second once that's dried out a bit. Jacek, you've said something in Polish, my man, but I don't read Polish, I'm afraid. I would love to be able to. I know I've been married to my wife quite a while now, and I still don't speak a lot of Polish, if any. Right, so I'm going to get down to working on this really grubby bit. Let me show you what we're talking about. Aha! He has done an English translation. He says, I'm full of admiration for your commitment and influence on the development of caravanning in your country. Your video started my professional reconstruction of the T5. Well, that's very, very kind of you to say, my man. I have fun doing it. And I'm glad you have fun building yours too. I really like that people are able to take something from our videos and then build their own, which is really, really good. Right, I'm going to be pointing that about there, and you can see me cleaning all of this grim nastiness from up here. Okay. Goggy says, what do you need to get your conversion TUV registered as a camper van in Europe? I have no idea, my man. I really don't. I know a lot of countries need type approval, so it may have had to have been professionally converted from start to finish by a company that is what is known as type approved. So you may have to look a bit further into that. Right, so what we're doing now with this old sort of detailing brush and the brake cleaner, I don't know how much you can see from there. Apologies. Yeah, getting rid of most of the surface grime. And then I can go back in there with a harder brush. And it's nice to be working on this again. I haven't worked on this for a while. Probably since, I don't know, early summer was the last time we properly worked on this, so it's a real treat. It's coming up nice though. Coming up really nice. Yeah, this will be interesting where you can see the sort of half-half comparison right here. We'll get the other wire brushes out after. Did anybody go to the... anybody head over to the NEC this week? We had the pleasure of attending NEC for the Caravan and Motorhome show. Myself and my camera guy Ali. We went on Wednesday, and that video will be out next week. And that was really fun. Some really inspirational things over there. And then we're also filming, whoa. Looks like my brake cleaner bottle's having a bit of an upset. It's just spilled its guts out everywhere. It is an old bottle. Yeah, and we're actually filming a video tomorrow as well, which will be good fun. So, full on week. Did anybody see any pictures of the NEC? And see what sort of vans they would have loved to have seen? One van that I was glad I got to see was that mad-looking Mercedes. I was what's it called, the Spectra or something like that. Incredible looking motorhome. It's like the Mercedes 4-wheel drive with a huge coach built body on the back, but it's all incredible looking car. Incredible looking cars. Very fortunate that I was able to see that. And we got, because we went with a because we went on a media pass, and we got early access as well before any of the punters effectively were allowed to go in. So yeah, what a real treat it was to be able to go in and see that without the crowd. So yeah, I felt very lucky to be able to do that. But we saw the biggest motorhome there, and then the smallest caravan there, which was one of those tiny little trailer pod things. That was quite remarkable to see. And then we also saw the cheapest caravan there, which was about 20 grand. So I think we covered all bases at the NEC, as well as seeing all the wonderful T5 builds and T6 builds, the motorhome builds. Gosh, there's so many things to see in terms of what you can get up to with motorhomes and caravans these days. Yeah, very, very cool. Very cool. So have I missed a bit yet? Has anybody seen if I've missed a bit? And anybody else's OCD is going absolutely mad? Right, let me put you, because I don't want you to be missing anything really. I want you about there, but my tripod won't do that for me. How about if I put that there? Oh, I'm making a right mess. There we go. So we're kind of there with you. So yeah, we've been nearly going about half hour. And if there's any further questions, then please give us a shout. We do love answering your questions, and it's why we're here. We do it more of a Q&A, as a Q&A than anything. Kev Froud has just commented. He says, did you see any VW Buzz builds? Do you know what, actually? As we left, myself and Ali did say that we thought we'd see more EV type builds. The only EV we saw was outside of Starbucks on the way in. That was the only Buzz that we saw at the whole event, and I'm glad I took a photo of it when I did, because I didn't actually see one the whole time. I believe if you're more into the camper van side, then the event in the early year, you know, I think it's just called the Camper Van and Caravan Show rather than the Motorhome and Caravan Show. I don't quite know. But oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You okay? Just fell over. What was I going to say? Yes, the event at the beginning of the year, the other NEC motorhome show, it's basically the same as what we just saw, but it's no caravans, or less caravans anyway. And it was a smaller event, so we've been told it's a bit of a better event. Now, it was my first time at any of those things. I've never done anything like that before. So it was news to me. It was all new to me, sorry. But I'm glad I did go. It was quite the education. Tony, we're going to be up in Snowdon next week. Snowdonia, are you coming? I see he's just commented. Yeah, we're going to go and see Cymru camper van conversions next week. And then we're going up to Wales, so we're kind of in your neck of the woods-ish. Should we meet up? We're going to be Snowdonia area. That'd be cool. Man, this block is looking tasty. Right, I've resorted to drill with like a wire brush bit. See if I can get into some of those crevices. That works. Well, they're officially dog shit, aren't they? That's already broken. Should we try again? Right, just to give you an example of what we've done, I mean, you might be able to see how we're doing here. But as this is the areas we've done, all nice and clean. I'm trying to think, are you a bit murky up there? It's very unprofessional of me, isn't it? There we go. So that's all cleaned. And then this bit's all cleaned. And this is all the grimy bit still. So let me plug you in before you die. Because the camera's about to die again, so I've got to plug you in. My apologies. There we go. Charging. Yes. Good. Is that better? Yeah. Cool. Right. Continue. Continue the cleaning. Let's try again with this whirly bit. Like that. Being the plastic brush as well, it's not too aggressive. Oh, that is grim. Right, I think I'm going to need to top up with a bit of brake clean as well. Goggy says, "Oh, I've got myself a kitchen gas hob and sink, all in one kind of thing. I'm coming to deciding where to have the gas cylinder, and outside seems best in terms of safety and space saving. What's ne?" I think your comment sort of stopped there, my man. He says, "What's ne?" I'm going to assume you're going to say what's next in terms of plumbing, etc. Aha, what's needed? There it is. What's needed to fit it externally? Right, well, you're going to need to find an externally mounted gas tank kit. Whether you'll find one that's DIY in Europe or not, I don't know. But that's what you're going to need. Pop that up more. And then you'll need somebody who'll be willing to fit it to a partly converted build over in Europe. Yes, and I'm sure it's a little bit more difficult in Europe actually, because of type approval and everything else that they have out there. I don't think we really discussed it last time we were together. But yeah, I'm sure in Europe they're a bit funny about their type approval. Wow, that is disgusting. But very satisfying. Can you see the grime that's coming off of that? That is disgusting. Tony says, this weekend I fully fitted the TV and 2 extra power points in the van. All the wiring in and neat. Nice work, Tony. Yeah, who else has been working on the van? What have you been up to? In fact, I did see some of your stories, Tony, actually, I think. Trouble is, because both my wife and I are on Instagram, and because we both have access to my account, I don't always see everybody's stories because they don't come up on my feed because my wife's got in there first. So everything that should be fresh to me isn't actually fresh. Because the other account holder, my wife, has already spotted it and viewed it. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Right, this is going remarkably well. And because we've got the heater going on in here, this is the sort of situation where I feel like I could be here all night. I'm not going to. But this is rather satisfying. Let me bring you down in here. It's when you start seeing things like VW part numbers and stuff, that's when it gets really cool. Right, just going to clean in here, 1 second. We've considered, Ali and I were talking the other day, when Ali and I went to the NEC the other day for the show, we were talking about how, broken another one, how we go ahead and improve the channel and how we can improve what we do, etc, etc. And in terms of live videos, how about one of those like baseball cap mounted GoPros so you could see everything I do, so to speak? Or even some of those new Google glasses so you could literally look at everything I'm looking at. Does that sort of thing sound good? Let me know. Motivate says needed to fit externally. Yes, you're going to need to fit the external tank. Paul P, hello. Firstly, good luck with your project. What's the engine CC and mileage? Two very good questions. This is a 1200 cc. It is a D1 code engine, and with regards to mileage, your guess is as good as mine. I would love to know how many miles this thing's done. I don't know if it's original to the car, but it seems pretty good. Like, there's very little to no end float on the engine, and it doesn't look like it's ever been pulled apart or stripped down. And if you take a look, it's actually coming together really, really quite nicely. Look how clean that is. It's all actually coming together quite nice. So there's the dirty areas. You see where it's grim and horrible. And then that's all the nice clean bits. That's one of the other YouTubers I watch. That's what he says. He says, unless you get your feet moving, nothing's going to happen. So which is why I'm out here on a evening, working on it. Right, if I tip that over, oh. Now, we can have a look at the real good stuff. Check it out. Now you can see under here as well where I cleaned before. This is where I cleaned the other day on another video, and that's where I haven't cleaned. And you can kind of see the difference there, can't you? Or where I've cleaned today. And where I haven't, where I've cleaned, where I've cleaned, where I haven't, where I've cleaned, where I haven't. So yeah, it's like night and day, isn't it? But it's nice to be able to see all of that. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start here and work my way down. I shall do that. Let's bring you here as well. Let's hope my leads can. You're at the whim of my leads right now. Man, I should get another. I have like two extremes with my tripod. Really high or really low? Where do you want to be? You want to be about there, don't you? Okay, hang on. Let's close that drawer. I'll put you. Stop looking at me. You want to look there. How's that? Is that better? Cool. See all the other parts just sort of hanging up here. You've got the bumpers and the hubcaps and stuff like that. We'll get there. All in good time. Right, let's start here. Nasty rocker cover. Oh, someone painted these red at one stage. Nice. Does that mean you add brake horsepower when you paint something red? Like having red brake calipers and things. You go faster. Maybe. Tell you what, let me do that first. I'll clean the top, and then we'll go down from there. Wow, some of this is really grim. Right. harder. Let's go with the other wire brush. Where was it? There. Let's go with that. Now we're getting somewhere. Look at that. Shiny, shiny again. Imagine cleaning your engine with a metal toothbrush, eh? Effectively what I'm doing right now. Oh well. I know it'll be worth it in the long run. How about you? Yeah, I'm not going to go too hard on those rocket colours. Just touched them with a wire brush and all the paint's falling off. Good. It's all going to come together quite nicely. I mean, I'd probably stay here tonight until this is clean. I don't know how many people hang around. Unless you just like watching people work, which is not a problem for me. I'm quite happy to talk rubbish until the middle of the night. Okay, right, so if you're watching, there are currently 13 of you watching. Money, no object. Money, no object. What car would you own? I'll have 3 answers and then I'll answer. Money, no object. What car would you own? Could be anything you like. If you won all the money on the lottery tomorrow, what would you own? Oh, these things are dog shit. It's like the third one broken. I'll keep trying at them because I've got them and they're here. I just don't think they like it if you twist on. Kevin Froud, 1960 Porsche. Very nice. Any particular model? Any particular reason why, Kevin? Or just because you like the sound of it? Or it's just one of the ones you've always wanted? Sure, sounds ridiculous. I'm actually going to turn that heater off. She is probably a bit better for you now. Back on the old metal toothbrush. This is extremely satisfying. I don't think it's ever been cleaned. I mean, why would you? It's a thing of beauty. Tony said, I like the February one, more tense. Cool, yeah, do you know what? I look forward to going to some of which are friends of ours. They said, you know what, yeah, definitely go back to February one, a different time of it. So that will be cool. Fancy going down there together? Kevin Froud says, Porsche 356 a coupe. Yes, absolutely. That is a beautiful car. You there next weekend? We are there next weekend. Ping me a message, Tony, and we'll go from there and we'll chat about it later. So, any more questions from anybody? If not, I will probably close this down because I don't want it to get too quiet. And unless you say otherwise, I don't particularly think you want to watch me clean an engine for the next 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll give you another couple of minutes. If there's no more questions, then we'll call it for tonight. And we'll just continue next time. We can do more of a Q&A bias thing, or we may be even reconstructing the engine again next time. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about that. In the meantime, I'm going to put a fresh pair of gloves on. Tell you what, though, it's a lot easier, this thing being in a blooming stand, messing around on the floor like before. Feels way better. Right, so let me show you what I was talking about. Ooh, come here. Get off that stand. Hope I haven't turned you off there. Right. So there we go. This is all around the cylinder head is all cleaning up rather nicely, whereas before it kind of looked all grim and grotty like that. And now it's all looking shiny. So nice, decent mating surfaces for all the manifolds to go up to. Again, we'll be cleaning, the exhaust manifold faces next as well. It's all looking quite proper, isn't it? And again, someone's obviously painted the rocker cover gaskets. Maybe we should honour that. Right, I'm going to tuck you in there. There we go. And I shall continue. Do I need them to be there? No, I can bring these up now. There we go. Work on some of those. God, you can definitely tell around here, can't you? There was some sort of exhaust leak because it was blowing a hoolie up around there. The carbon up there is way different to the rest of the dirt. It's really sort of baked on. So I'll be glad to get rid of that, that's for sure. Yeah, already that's looking way better. Right, I'll clean that around this exhaust manifold then. With the exhaust manifold mating surface. If I have no more comments or no more questions, we'll probably close it down. There you go, that feels better. Cool. Rightio then. Right then, peeps. Tony says, motivate or goggy, I thoroughly recommend an underslung tank. I posted my full install on my Instagram. Good stuff, Tony. Well done. Thank you for the recommendation. Tony also says, I sent Dom a video of the TV. Wicked. Well, we should put that up on our socials as well, I'm sure. That's normally down to Dommy. Right, so we're at 52 minutes. I think we're going to call that tonight. Oh, hang on. We've had a comment by Swashbuckle. He says, money no object. Ferrari 250 GTO, such a beautiful car. And there you go, that is the second comment. For me, I have two cars which are money no objects. One is a Ferrari F40. It's the poster car I had as a kid. And the second is a Back to the Future conversion DeLorean, you know, with all of the all the bells and whistles from the movie, all that sort of stuff. A DeLorean, that's how I'd like it. Tony says, need a close-up of the casing, Leigh. I love a clean engine. Yeah, do you know what? Let's do that for you. And then Jacek, how cold is it where you are? Do you know what? It's not very cold, to be honest. It's clear out tonight. I thought it was going to be cold. I'm actually sweating right now in this coat. In fact, you might recognise this from a Polish brand, Dare to Be. Coat I got in Poland. Right, so Tony, there you go. Nice fresh engine block there. And then I'm getting all the head cleaned up as well. It's got some work to do yet before it looks how I want it up here. You can just see up here, there's got the corrosion around the casing there. Obviously with the two different metals were sat one on top of each other. So you've got the magnesium of the case and maybe the aluminium of the oil cooler housing sat on there, so it's corroded a little bit. But you can see why I don't think this block's ever been split. It just doesn't look like it at all. Bit of corrosion around there. Some flashing from the factory processes. It's probably had new heads. I reckon the heads are not VW factory, bearing in mind how well those surfaces are all cleaning up. But who knows, could well be. Could well be. But yeah, Tony, I hope that satisfies. Nice clean engine there. There we go. We're at 54 minutes, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep banging my head on that rafter, look, you ready? Just there. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We'll see you on the next one, either on Sunday next week for the YouTube upload. That will be the Camping and Caravanning show or the Motorhome and Caravan show. If not, we shall see you this time next week, 8 PM for a live. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.